Hey, how you going there, peeps? Phil here from MTG Kiwi Philosophy here again, bringing you another deck tech. This one I like to call Weekend at Burnies. Yeah, that's right, this is a burn deck. It's a mono red bad boy. Start from our low end into our high end. There is not really much of a build around, it's more just a whole lot of hurt. Okay, well let's get into it. And first of all, we're going with our first card, and that is 4 copies of Shock, 4 copies of Tormenting Voice, and 4 copies of Lightning Strike. Shock and Lightning Strike are in there for obvious reasons, a little bit of extra damage to the face earlier on or to creatures to help us stay alive, as well as being able to use it to synergize with other cards. Tormenting Voice, a fantastic card once we get to that mid game and we've got nothing but land in our hand and we need to discard them so we can draw more cards. It is really good. But also that red spell being able to synergize. Alright, let's move on to the next cards. So the last of our 2 drops, we're going with 4 copies of Electrostatic Field. In our 3 drops, we're going with 2 copies of Fight with Fire and 4 copies of Fiery Cannonade. Now the Electrostatic Field is fantastic because every instant or sorcery spell we cast is going to deal 1 damage to our opponent, and of course the more fields we have in play, they're going to stack, and that's going to help us deal a little bit of extra damage. It blocks creatures earlier on, and of course Fight with Fire, great for early removal, creatures power 5 or below, and being able to kick it for that extra 10 damage to the face. Fiery Cannonade, once again, brilliant sweeper for all those low-end creatures and a bit of damage to our opponents. It won't affect our electrostatic fields, and that's really good as well. Alright, well let's move on to the next cards. And we're going with 4 copies of Risk Factor. We're going with 4 copies of Arclight Phoenix and 3 copies of Experimental Frenzy. Now Risk Factor, once again, is a fantastic value card for a 3-drop instant speed, 4 damage to your face or draw 3 cards. Hey, why not, eh? Great value, and it has Jumpstart, so that's once again going to help us with a little bit more card draw and damage, so nothing wrong with that. Arclight Phoenix, it's fantastic, it's in there, it's a 4-drop haste creature with flying, which is fantastic, and of course being able to cast 3 spells and return it from our graveyard to dump it into the graveyard and be able to use it to cast other spells to bring it back. So it's really fantastic, it's a good value card as well. And of course Experimental Frenzy is a great enchantment. Once we've emptied our hands out, and of course we can then use the top of our library to actually cast things. So if we can continue to do that mid-game to late, and we can actually use spell after spell, because not a lot of our spells are going to cost more than 4, it's going to be really good for us. And of course, if our opponents don't want to have Risk Factor deal 4 damage to them and they want to fill our hands out while Experimental Frenzy is in play, that is fine as well. It could be problematic at a certain point of the game, but it's not likely. Being able to sack it as well and then start using the cards in our hand is not terrible, because we can just do that at the end of our opponent's turn. Alright. Well, let's move on to the last card in our deck, and that is 3 copies of Banefire. Now, Banefire is fantastic. We all know why it's there, because it can't be countered once we've pumped it enough, and of course, you know, straight to the face, there's nothing wrong with that for a burn spell if we've got plenty of mana to spend. So that's the thing, you see, even though we're going to be having all this mana, we still need to be able to sink it into something, and I think that's really important too. Alright, well let's move on to the sideboard and our lands. And of course our lands we're keeping real simple. Now lands we're going to go with 24 mountains, and the reason we're doing this is because we want to make sure that we have consistent land drops and that we have lands that we're going to be able to discard if need be. And that's going to help us get to our late game or mid game to finish off our opponents. Okay, well let's move on to our sideboard. Okay, so what we're trying to do with our sideboard is we're just going to add a few creatures in there just to make the deck a little bit more viable if we come against something that's a little bit faster and a little bit wider than we need. And this is going to probably help us a little bit more, might help us be a little bit more competitive, because being a burn deck can sometimes be a little bit janky. Alright, well we're going to go with our first card in our sideboard, and that is 4 copies of Viashino Pyromancer, 4 copies of Demanding Dragon, and 4 copies of Doublecast. Now the Viashino Pyromancer is in there because it dumps into play with an ETB dealing 2 damage to our opponents, or a Planeswalker, which is really good. And of course it is a 2-1, so if we can get it into early play and then we end up getting a little bit of damage in with it through combat, that's fantastic as well. Demanding Dragon's great. It can sweep a creature off the board, or it can just go straight to the face. And of course, with a burn deck, we're most likely going to be able to keep some of those creatures off the board reasonably early, which means that if we can get to that 5 mana with our opponents having a clear board, it means that's 5 damage to the face, and there's nothing they can do about it. And of course then they've got a 5/5 dragon they have to deal with, and there's nothing wrong with that for us. Okay, and let's move on to our Doublecast. Now Doublecast is a fantastic card, and of course yes, we can copy a spell, but we won't get the second effect for it for when we want to use it as a cast spell. But nonetheless, being able to Doublecast something like a shock for 4 damage, a lightning strike for 6 damage, or double casting a risk factor for 8, or even just double casting something like Fight with Fire to remove 2 creatures is not a terrible thing. Okay, and Banefiring, double cast is also great because there's nothing wrong with that as well. Let's move on to the last card in our sideboard, because we want to keep it real short and sweet, and that is 3 copies of Inescapable Blaze. Because Inescapable Blaze is once again a spell that cannot be countered, and it's damage to the face if we want it to be. And that's really good, because if we want to double cast that, then of course that is going to be an additional, that's 12 damage to the face, and that's nothing. There's nothing bad about that. And of course with the Electrostatic fields in play as well, for each of those that's stacking as well for each field we have in play, and then we've got the double cast, so we're going to get a few triggers off that. We're not going to get the extra trigger because it's a copy of a spell, but nonetheless being able to have that extra damage is still fantastic. And being able to have any target is also good. So it doesn't have to be to the face. If it needs to be a critical point in the game where we're going to have to remove some creatures, then so be it, to stay alive. But nonetheless, being able to use it like that is fantastic. Okay, well that's the deck. I hope you like it. I'm Phil from MTG Kiwi Philosophy. Don't forget to smash that like button, share, subscribe, and you know what? I guess I'll catch you on the flip side. Ciao.